Right, I'm back. This time I'm going to be showing you 8 of my favourite vintage t-shirts. A lot of my collection is kind of unexpected, a bit different. I don't kind of have a typical vintage t-shirt collection of lots of rock tees and rap tees, that sort of thing. I try and buy things that are kind of unexpected and different, or something that's like evocative of like my childhood, or makes me smile basically. First one on the rack is a super thrashed out like religious tee. It's on a Made in USA soft tee blank by TJ's. It's got single stitch hem, which I can tell you about in another video. Basically dates it early 90s. It's got a lot of wear to it, a bunch of holes in the front, the graphics super faded. It reads, "Those of you who hope in the Lord will soar on wings like eagles." And then this mad like picture of a big eagle flying down on a lake, probably trying to catch a salmon or something. The sun fade on it is insane. I'm not religious, but I think the graphics and like how crazy and how bold they were, considering it's a religious tee, when you think of it, usually it would be quite conservative, but actually this and then another tee I've got on this rack are quite brazen and quite loud and quite brash, and I really like that contrast that they give. So this is probably an early 90s, maybe even late 80s piece. Super sick fade, super thrashed out, the collar's basically gone. And I love the feel of them. I mean, it's super soft, super faded. It's a really cool tee. I picked this up fairly recently from a vintage store. It cost me like 16, 17 quid. Really happy with that. Super hard to find tees like this. No one really curates them. No one really finds them. I don't think many people value them as tees, but I think they've got such sick graphics. And I'm really happy to have this one. Next tee I've got is this 1996, year of my birth, Silverstone British Grand Prix Formula 1 t-shirt. I used to watch Formula 1 like mad when I was growing up, like every weekend. Stick the Formula 1 on, you'd sit there and you'd watch loads of it. It's got like a mad double label going on. So it's got like a Silverstone added label, like a thin one that's kind of wearing out now. And then it's actually on a Nutmeg blank. So Nutmeg were a producer of blanks back in the late 80s through to the 90s, and it's super mad to find one in the UK that's using like a UK graphic, because Nutmeg were like an American made brand. This one's made in Egypt and I've never seen that before. Again, kind of typical of Nutmeg stuff, they've got a little patch on it. A lot of them had patches on like the hem, but this has got it on the sleeve and it's like a Formula 1 patch rather than the Nutmeg blank. Mad colorway as well, like super crazy. This sort of rainbow effect behind the Formula 1 car, and then a big text with the British flag. Say, used to love Formula 1 when I was growing up, year of my birth, and I found this for a quid in a charity shop. So I was like super excited to get this, and I was like, no, I'm keeping that, can't get rid of that. Sort of thing that I really like. Again, you're not going to see this every day. It's not your sort of typical vintage t-shirt collection piece. Just really cool. Next, again, very atypical of like a vintage t-shirt collection. Bang on the Door. If you're watching from overseas, you'll probably have no idea what this is. But Bang on the Door, back in the early noughties, sort of like up to like maybe 2004, 2005, was like the thing for any self-respecting 9-year-old in the early 2000s. They made loads of stuff like plush toys, bed sheets, pencil cases, like stationery, the lot. And this is something I didn't even know existed until I found like this and a few others. And I found that there's actually a whole collection of animals that they did. Super weird kind of cartoon shapes. And then they've got big childlike text on the bottom. I've seen spider, I've seen bear, I've seen bat, and they're all a bit wacky. But this is one I've kept so far. Size extra large, like super baggy on me. And it's got such a sick like care tag. Don't be naughty, wash at 40. Tumble dry but not too high. Do not bleach it or dry clean it. Wear it well. Thank you. Goodbye. Which is like, it's super funny. Like, you just don't see that on modern tees. They wouldn't bother with that kind of effort. They wouldn't bother with that kind of humour. It's just wild. I say proper like noughties kids wear. It's got like paint stains or something on the back. Again, I love wearing this because people see it and they're like, what is that? Why does that exist? I remember that. It's super evocative, super cool. That's pretty mad. I like it. Next up is this late 80s, I reckon. Another single stitcher. Not really anything to say on the tag. Doesn't really give away much, but it's Snoopy. This was found for me by Ben at Oxfam. Shout out my Oxfam plug. He works at the warehouse there, and he found this and was like, Sam, you gotta have it. Please leave this earth better than you found it. Crazy, crazy colours, clean up world. Original piece from like early environmental movements in the 80s. Mad piece. I've had loads of people try to buy this off me, and I've always said no. It's so cool. Ben held it for me. I had to have it. That was again like 15 quid, super sick tee. Nothing on the back, but like a mad fade throughout, and I'm really putting a lot of wear into it. I mean, it's date stamped 1958, and this is a sort of thing I see quite commonly, as people assume that because it's got a date stamp, it's from that time. And that's just a licensing agreement. There's no way this t-shirt was from 1958. So again, if you see a date on a tee, it doesn't necessarily mean it's from that year. Something one-off like this is probably the year it was produced. So this is a 1999 Universal Studios like theme park t-shirt from the opening of the ride, The Monster and the Machine. This is like a Hulk themed ride. Super crazy graphic, like really washed out, cracked print. I bought this super faded and I've put a lot more wear into it. The thing I really like about this is the back, where it has all these stats. So the like number of inversions, the corkscrews, the loops, the top speed the roller coaster went to, the G-force, like crazy like stats to put on a t-shirt. You just wouldn't think about doing that. Again, like tees, old tees just are so much better. New tees wouldn't have sort of the character of this and the charm of like putting stuff like that on. Like one weightless 0G roll. That's such a cool like block of text to have on a t-shirt. Mad piece. Really like it. I've worn this loads. Again, this was charity shop. £1.50. Like, that's mad. I love it. I think that's why a lot of these t-shirts mean so much to me, is because I've found them myself and they were really cheap, and I feel like they're not worth objectively loads, but where are you going to find another one? I've only ever seen another one of these t-shirts out and about in the UK, not seen any in the US. I don't know whether the ride is still going, I highly doubt it. I'm not sure how long it existed for, but really cool piece. Again, like massive on me, which I love. I can't stand things that actually fit. Another one, this is 80s, late 80s, and one of my favourite blanks, the jerseys, 50/50, made in USA. This is MGM with the lion, again like a super evocative thing for me. Obviously all the films I was watching back in the early noughties, late 90s were like with the big lion at the beginning, you know, like the animated one. It's got like a little Florida print. I've got another one that's just plain MGM, but I feel like this is a bit more fun with the two palm trees, big Florida text, super cool colorway, the gold on the red and the little touches of white is super nice. Single stitch on the hem again, double stitch on the bottom hem. Made in USA, that 50/50 blank, I don't know if you can quite pick that out, but like these are super thin, super lightweight, really nice to wear in the summer. Again, like lush tees to wear, really like them. I've got a few on this blank, but nothing quite as good graphic wise as this one. Again, this was charity shops. This was like £1.50. Sick find. In fact, I think I found it in the same place I found this one. Crazy finds. Again, I don't know how much this would really be worth, but you're not going to find that many, and I'm really happy to be wearing it. Another one, this is the other religious tee I spoke about. This is mad. You see this a bit more. This is kind of more of a common one in collections because it is such a mad graphic. It's the Lord's Gym. I mean, like, it's mad. The back says enough. His pain, your gain. Proper gory, gruesome, like nail through the hand, blood everywhere, and this bench press, this text to the bottom with like a Jesus figure doing push-ups with the cross. Such a bold, like hard graphic to wear. First few times I wore this, like I worried a lot about what people think, but actually once you get over it, it's a sick t-shirt. Proper controversial one. Again, this was actually produced by a church out in the US. It's licensed 1990, so it was probably late 80s, early 90s sort of thing. I've seen a few of them produced more later, and it's had a few retros actually recently, as a few people have wanted to buy it again, but it's actually quite hard to find. I had to buy this off US eBay, get it imported. Really sick piece, but I just really had to have it. Single stitch, both hems. It's got this crazy, it's not going to pick up, like simple stripe to it. It's like a really tonal stripe, dark black on like a slightly lighter black, and it's lovely. Again, lush fit. It's kind of oversized. I think it's like a large. super boxy, super wide, mad graphic. And then last one, again, super childish, but like Winnie the Pooh. I used to love Winnie the Pooh when I was little. That was my jam. I had a Pooh Bear when I was little. I mean, I'm wearing another one here. Like, I love Pooh. I think it's such a sick graphic. This is picked up in a vintage store in Sheffield. Lovely, lovely fit. I think it might be a women's fit originally. I'm not sure. Size extra large, but I think that's women's. Made in USA on such a sick blank as well. Lovely little Pooh. And Sun Sportswear originally, but obviously licensed through Disney. Sold as Pooh. Probably was sold in like a theme park, Disney World, something like that, or one of the Disney stores back in the 90s. This one's maybe a bit later, probably like mid-90s, but it's got such a sick, like striped Breton almost design, and then the three Poohs just trotting his way across the t-shirt. Really like this, wear this loads, such a nice design. That's my t-shirts. So I've got loads more, but I thought I'd just pick a few of my favourites, show you them, and say a little bit about them. That's all from me. Those are some t-shirts that I own that I really love. Leave us a comment if you want to see a video on how to date vintage t-shirts. We mean to make that as well. So if that is something you want to see, let me know down in the comments. As ever, my Instagram is @RalphsVintage. You can find me on there. It's probably the best place to contact me. If you want to buy anything, if you want to sell me something cool, if you want to show me something cool, I love seeing your guys' pickups. Yeah, message me. Any feedback you have, I'd love to hear it. I've got like a light box now and a tripod, and I'm trying to get things serious. Oh, look at this setup, it's good, isn't it? Like, it's all right.
Won't you help me talk to this? Talk to this. Help me talk to this. Talk to this. Help me talk to this. Talk to this. Talk to this. Talk. Who the fuck is gonna talk to pressure?